This video is presented by EA Game Changers. Thank you EA for allowing me to participate at this event. So I've just come home from EA Play, and in this video I'm gonna give you guys an update on what I'm allowed to share with you in regards to what's coming to Battlefield 5. Most notably, I got to play the Operation Underground map, which is very much a new installment of the Battlefield classic Operation Metro. Although, because the map is currently in such an early stage, we were sadly not allowed to capture any footage of it. But I can tell you about it, so that's what I'm gonna do. The map being a remake isn't a correct statement in my opinion. It looks very different from the earlier installments of Metro from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. DICE have taken the problems that the map previously had into account, such as matches being stuck in stalemates a lot of the time. When playtesting the map, I actually didn't experience a single stalemate situation. Sure, maybe we were just lucky to never end up in a situation like that, but I feel like the new layout prevents stalemates a lot more. On this version of the map, there are more flanking routes opened up, such as on one side of the metro where you can go even further down than you have been able to before. What about the ticket hall area then? Well, it's a lot smaller now, and it prevents you from camping too much inside it, as the cover is destructible this time. However, you can of course rebuild it using fortifications. The map has a bigger outside section now, but that is not to say it's fully open. So at the outside area, apart from the trams and the staircases, there are sort of craters and holes in the ground which you can use to push up or hide inside. You don't have the tall buildings with multiple floors anymore where you can shoot down on the street, but there are some broken structures that were previously buildings of course, which you can climb onto. Inside the metro itself, you now have an extra way of getting in by jumping through some windows above the train tracks themselves. The infamous park where you start playing Rush on Operation Metro is not something I've seen in this version of the map sadly. However, that side of the map is now a city area instead, and there are still holes in the ground in order to get down to the metro. Inside the underground, it's now more divided into multiple corridors rather than the metro being one big hall. Of course you will still have that hall in the middle with stairs on each side, but on the other sides there are now extra corridors. When playing this map in a World War II setting, I felt that it did lack some sense of realism, but who am I kidding, I prefer good gameplay over immersion. Shotguns are still very annoying, but that is very much to be expected on a map like this. Please do take everything that I've just said with a grain of salt, as the map is still in early stages of course, and a lot of things could be bound to change. Hopefully I was able to give you some form of image of how the map plays currently though. So what else than Operation Underground then? Well, most of it you probably know already, so let me just skip through it real quick so we can get to the other interesting bits. I got to playtest and record footage of two new maps, Sundan and Marita, which is the footage you see playing in the background here. To be fully honest with you, I don't play a lot of regular Conquest myself, so I'm not the ideal player to judge these maps. I can definitely see these maps having potential for players who do play a lot of regular Conquest though. Sundan is a more open map and can be focused a lot on longer range combat, while Marita is far more narrow and is actually very fun to play if you're a fan of infantry combat. I also tested some new weapons, although my mouse cable at the event was very short as you can see here. So as a low sensitivity player, I struggled a lot with not playing like a potato. The weapons seemed nice though, but I won't say more than that because I simply have so little playtime with them. So let's go on to the part that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, the 5v5 mode. In March this year, we got to hear of a 5v5 mode coming to the game in Chapter 4. EA Play was supposed to give players hands-on with the mode, and more information was supposed to be shared there. However, what instead happened is that the 5v5 mode was not mentioned, and they instead talked of a close quarters experience that was being released in August, as in towards the end of Chapter 4. When asked about this on Reddit, Battlefield community manager Adam Freeman responded with this: "We didn't feature it this weekend to give more focus to what people want to hear most about, maps. My expectation is that the two will first feature in the experience that they were designed for, but we are 100% open to the idea of bringing them to sensible modes. My personal belief is that they aren't great for big player counts, but I'd trust the team to find a good way to make them play fun on smaller modes." So basically it looks like the maps have of course been built for the 5v5 mode, therefore it would be very odd for them not to release it. They are however exploring how they can implement more modes on these maps, considering they were built with only one mode in mind. Now a lot of players may think it's a shame that once we finally get new maps, 2 of them were solely built for a 5v5 experience. However, I think it is very important to remember that for a 5v5 mode to be as good as possible, you need map design tailored for competitive play. Although what is the most worrying to me personally is that if DICE are avoiding mentioning that the 5v5 mode will be available on these 2 maps, then are they really sure that the 5v5 mode is ready? This is where I once again have to raise my eyebrows for the lack of involvement with the competitive community that truly wants to help out with shaping the game more than ever. Either way, we will surely get more information as we get closer to August, so we don't have more options other than to simply wait. Logically speaking though, since the community has asked a lot for maps recently, I'm not surprised why the focus during EA Play was shifted to maps instead of the 5v5 mode. We got to see some DICE developers traveling to the Pacific in order to capture environments that they will use for maps coming in Chapter 5. I sadly have no further details to share on this, but there will of course be more information once we get closer to the fall of this year. Finally, I want to mention 2 other updates. The first one is of course that the max rank is being increased from 50 to 500, and the second one is that the private games are coming in September this year, which means that we will be able to create our own Battlefield experiences at any time, and of course also get more features implemented with the further patches, so please do get involved with the discussion on the features that we want as soon as it is time. Those are all the things that I'm allowed to share with you from EA Play. However, there is of course more to come that I will talk about, so make sure that you stay tuned on this channel by smashing the subscribe button and the bell. Please let me know what you think about the information that I shared with you in this video. What are your thoughts on the current layout of Operation Underground? What do you think about Sundan and Marita? What are your thoughts on the delayed 5v5 mode? And what else are you excited for further down the line? Also, don't forget to leave the Swedish word fiskmås at the end of your comment, and we will all see how many people got this far into the video. But until the next video, I am PresidentSlendy, and I wish you a fine day.